Hey there guys, I've gotten a bunch of requests to do another Kyros clear, this time using, or not using, Behemy or Ygni. So we're going to leave Behemy and Ygni at home. We're going to do Gabranth instead of Behemy, and we're going to use Kresnik instead of Ygni. So this is the team we're going to use. Because my units are, those units are a little bit lower in EX levels, I can only do an EX 14 example video. So we're going to turn on everything except one of the HP modifiers. But that actually won't change the clear any, because we have all the bulk mods on, all the damage mods on. We're going to damage cap anyway, so that HP modifier literally does not change anything for this specific clear. So if you have an EX16 team, you can do the exact same strategy. There is going to be one minor change because of that on turn 5, and I'll point it out when we get there. But otherwise, let's go ahead and show the team, and I will show see the clear, and I'll show the team and the gear and all at the end of the video. So to start off, right away, Sephiroth, Shift Form LB, stack it up. We're going to Shift Bulwark, and we're going to do Dual Cast. Let's do the Magnus to fill mana, and Bargamot's Ballad for Demon Mitigation. Alright, Sky is going to triple. We're going to Sharp Spear and Double Furious to blind the boss, break the boss, etc. Louise is going to Amplify, Stat Buff, and Double Ionic, because we got to get Kresnik's LB filled by next turn. So we're going to do that. Kresnik is going to shift on turn 1 and then do Arcane Stimulant to fill morale. And then Gabranth is going to triple. We're going to do Circle of Judgment, Clinging to Life, and Mist Veil. Make sure you do Mist Veil and not his regular cover. Okay, so turn 1, there is a chance Gabranth could die here if he gets really unlucky on the blind hits. But if the boss misses a lot from blind, Gabranth should be okay. So fingers crossed here. Let's see how the hits go. Most of the hits should be heavily mitigated because of all the stuff we did. But, some hits could get through and deal a ton of damage. It seems like he's going to be fine this turn. He is. Not a problem. If your Gabranth does happen to die on turn 1, just retreat and come back in. It's not that big a deal. Turn 1 is one of the most dangerous turns of the fight with the way we're doing it. Alright, so we're going to go to the base form with Sephiroth and just do Rallying Cry. We're going to have Bulwark, Shift. We're going to triple now. We're going to Cheer Up for Morale, Jaunty Jubilee on Gabranth for the big mitigation, and Sacred Symphony for bigger demon mitigation. We're going to go ahead and guard Gabranth this turn. Because we did Mist Veil, it's multi-turn mitigation, so he can guard now. Sky is going to shift and do the shifted LB. It's going to stack it up. It's also going to put accuracy down, which we didn't have yet. We're going to go ahead and do Kresnik's Limit Burst here, the shifted Limit Burst. That's going to put up an auto cast for the rest of the fight. And then Louise is going to quad cast Ionic to refill Kresnik's LB. Now, if Kresnik's LB wasn't filled quite yet before Louise, you can go ahead and use Louise first to guarantee Kresnik to be filled in time, and then use Kresnik afterwards. Either way, it's not that big a deal. So we have more mitigation on Gabranth this turn, including Bulwark's Magnus on him, so he should be definitely very fine at this point. Okay, so on turn 3 and turn 4, we're going to do things in a very specific order, so make sure you follow along. We're going to be, first of all, going to the base form with Sky, and Sky is going to go first in the turn. We're going to Magnus and double hit again, because we want Sky getting dispelled this turn. Alright, actually I'm noticing a small problem here. Hold on 1 second. Nope, we're going to adjust that real quick. Okay, anyway, now that that's done, Louise is going to shift. Alright, let me real quick mark this for adjustment later. I need to adjust my turn chart for you guys. Anyway, Louise is going to field. We're going to Disarming, and then double Ionic to, again, refill Kresnik for later. We need to do Kresnik's LB again soon. Let's see here. Sephiroth can just Rallying Cry yet again on turn 3. Let's see here. Gabranth can guard. Nope, Gabranth is going to shift. Alright, so Gabranth is going to shift, and I'll explain why more in a second. I know I'm a little bit scattered right now because I kind of got off track by a mistake I noticed. We're going to, in the shift form with Bulwark, we're going to Chirrup. We're going to Bulwark's theme for the modifiers, and we're going to Mixtape. Okay, now we're going to use Kresnik's shifted Magnus to imbue the boss with Holy, and in Gabranth's shift form, he's geared in 200% Holy Resist, and with the modifier to reduce your resistance by half, he's still immune even in the shift form, or even at with the modifier. So now we're going to guard. We're immune because of the Magnus. Now I didn't actually see who got countered. It should have been Sky that got countered. We're going to check when our turn starts again. Let's wait and see here. Okay, so did Sky eat the counter? Either her or Louise did. Check for the Holy Imbue. So this one is not Holy Imbued, and Louise is Holy Imbued with Light Element. So we're going to use Sephiroth to Rage Beast Roar on Louise to get rid of that Holy Imbue. So the boss dispelled Sky, and now Sephiroth dispelled the other one. Sometimes the boss will counter the other person. So if Louise had been countered last turn and Sky was still Holy Imbued, we would have Rage Beast Roared Sky instead. But there we go. So on turn 4, we're going to just go ahead and Imperil from an Esper on the boss. Louise can go to the base form. We're going to Amplify, Killer Buff, and double Ionic. And we're going to use the base form Limit Burst of Kresnik this turn. We're going to just guard the shifted Gabranth. Again, he's still in the shift form with all the Holy Resist. And Bulwark is going to Chirrup, Mixtape, and Sacred Symphony. Okay, so once again, Gabranth is immune to damage because of the imbue of Kresnik. It lasts for 3 turns, assuming you leveled it up, which you should have. And here we go. We're still covering it all. Now, turn 5 is an evasion turn, so we're going to go back to the base form with Gabranth on this turn and refresh cover, because his cover has worn off at this point. Okay, so turn 5. Turn 5, Sephiroth is going to begin singing his Zidane's STMR song. I want to do the with you. Gabranth is going to go to the base form. We're going to Judge's Defense. Alright, Sky is going to shift and do her LB, but not yet. We're going to wait. Louise is going to shift. We're going to do triple disarming and neutralizing. And Kresnik is going to quad from the Yrini's Ring, the Firega spell, to support Chan because we're not using Ygni. We're going to do the attack and magic buff from Morale. And Bulwark is going to triple. We're going to Sacred Symphony, Hurricane, and Mixtape. Okay, so turn 5, I remember how I mentioned there was something special I got to mention? Because I couldn't turn on the last HP modifier, if I go full burst, I might push the threshold because the boss has less HP for this example video because I couldn't turn on that last HP modifier. If you're doing an EX16 clear, you want to proper burst, which means you're going to chain the 2 Chaos Wave units, and then you're going to cap that with Sky. Because I don't want to push this threshold with the HP down, we're not going to cap Sky. So we're just going to send our chainers and wait. And let this finish. Then we're going to send Sky unchained. So if you're doing a full modifier clear, you would cap Sky. You see how Sky did 6% unchained? With the 6 times chain cap, that would have been 30%, and we would have probably pushed the threshold potentially. You know, with high variance you could have. We didn't want that. So we're going to push the threshold on turn 7. We did not want to push it early. Also, as you can see, the boss has no accuracy. We're evading all the damage on turn 5. So turn 6, we're just going to reload Gabranth. We don't really need anything from him once Kresnik finishes. So just reload and cover again. Bulwark is going to, this turn, we're going to triple. We're going to, again, just Hurricane, Sacred Symphony, and Mixtape. Oh, not that. Because we got dispelled when we chained last turn. So Hurricane, Sacred Symphony, and Mixtape. Alright, we don't want to attack the boss this turn, so we're just going to use Kresnik to remedy. That's all we really need here. So this Medicinal Remedy. Louise is going to go to the base form. We're going to Field, Amplify, Killers, and Stat Buff. And Sky's going to go to the base form, and we're just going to use Imperil. We don't want to hit the boss, and we don't want to guard her either, because that'll remove her stacks. Okay, so turn 6, once again, the boss has no accuracy. We're still covering with an Evasion Gabranth, 0 damage taken. We did get Mana Drain, though. Now, if you've got lots and lots of mana reduction on your team, technically I do. We could ignore that Mana Drain and still keep going, because Kresnik is going to, at the start of the turn, fill our MP. As you see here, there it is. I now technically have enough to chain and burst, but in case you don't, you can click the morale bar and use Resurging Will on this turn, and that'll fill your MP enough to chain on turn 7. We're also going to use Resounding Will for the attack and magic buff. Okay, so on this turn, we're going to, in this order specifically, first of all, we're going to go ahead and just reload Gabranth and just cover again, doesn't really matter. Okay, Sky is going to shift. We're going to cap her LB. Louise is going to shift, and we're going to chain again. And we're going to triple Disarming and Neutralizing. Kresnik will quad cast Firega. Don't use Chocobo yet. Save Bulwark until last. Okay, so this time we're going to proper chain. Now, again, if you're doing an EX16 clear, you would chain this the same way on turn 5 as well as turn 7 to push the threshold. So we're going to send our 2 Chaos Wave units first, and then like almost immediately, we're going to then send Sky. So send the Chaos Wave units, and then click Sky. And there, boom, there's Sky's big hit, and we push that threshold. Okay, so this threshold is going to AoE Dispel us, but before we do that, we're going to use Chocobo to triple cast. We're going to do Moogly Mixtape, but we're going to also do Shadow Serenade. That's going to imperil the boss for later, for the kill turn. It's also going to put up an undispellable Dark Amplify on the party, specifically on Sephiroth, because he's busy singing, he can't do his own Dark Amplify. But because we're doing it on turn 7, the boss is going to dispel us and get rid of the Dark Imbue, which we don't actually want. So here we go. Let me adjust that real quick. Anyway, so turn 7, still has no accuracy. We push the threshold, 0 damage taken, all the attacks evaded. Perfect. And there's the full dispel. So the party was completely dispelled this turn. Keep that in mind. Now turn 8 is going to be a very painful turn. The boss is going to get an attack buff this turn, and we can't immune it anymore because Crescent Magnus is now gone. So in order to deal with turn 8, we're going to go to the base form with Gabranth. Oh, he's already in the base form. Never mind, ignore me. He's in the base form. Okay, so yes, he's going to Dual Judgment. He's going to Circle of Judgment and Mist Veil. Make sure you do both those skills. We're also going to do the 400% Defense and Spirit buff. We're going to go to the base form with Bulwark. We're going to triple. We're going to do Sacred Symphony for the Demon mitigation. We're going to do Bulwark's Blare for the Instrument in Peril. And we're going to do Jaunty Jubilee on Gabranth for the big physical mitigation. Sky is going to go to the base form and use her Magnus this turn because it is wearing off. Don't attack the boss. We do not want to attack the boss this turn. So do this. Louise, go to the base form. Doesn't really matter. We'll just cast a stat buff to not deal any damage to the boss. And Kresnik is going to triple. We're going to Medicinal Mastery for the really huge human mitigation. We're going to Medicinal Potion and Medicinal Remedy. We're also going to do Resolute Will for the 5,000 point barrier, because this turn is going to be pretty painful. Okay. So most of the time, Gabranth should survive here. It obviously depends very much on the gear you have. If your gear is, the same level as mine, it should be fine. If your gear is a little bit lower, you've got to really hope that the boss just misses a few times, because he does have accuracy down still from Sky, and we are evading Gabranth. Now that time, Gabranth took very little damage because, again, the accuracy down really helped out. Okay, so turn 9. Turn 9, we're again going to not attack the boss. We're going to go ahead and do Unbreakable Will for the big defense buff. We're going to guard Gabranth this turn. We're going to shift Chocobo. Chocobo is going to triple. We're going to refresh Hurricane, refresh Sacred Symphony, and we're going to do Electric Ensemble. That's going to fill mana, but more importantly, it's going to fill mana next turn as well, so we can refill, so we can chain on the boss. Sky is just going to use Imperil. We don't want to hit the boss this turn. Louise is going to get set up. We're going to Firestarter, Amplify, Diverse, and Incapacitate target. And Kresnik doesn't really have much going on here. He'll just do a barrier. So we'll just Potion, Remedy, and like Potion. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you include Potion, because Potion gives a barrier, which is going to help Gabranth survive. So Gabranth shouldn't die here. He's guarding. He's got all the mitigations. We still got the charge of the Magnus from Bulwark, so we should be fine here. Yeah, he's fine. Not a problem. Lots of mitigation. So we got completely drained. But at the start of the turn, Bulwark is going to fill mana, and so is Kresnik. They're both going to auto-cast MP fill because of their Magnus, their LBs, etc. There we go. Lots of mana to chain on the kill turn. The STMR song is done as well. So we're going to shift Sky, get her ready for the burst. We're going to shift Sephiroth, get him ready for the burst. We're going to shift Gabranth so he can triple cast. He's going to help burst here. We're already shifted you. We're going to shift Louise. A lot of shifting this turn. Okay, we're going to put up Resolute Will for the defense and spirit buff. We're going to put up Resounding Will for the attack and magic buff. Sky is going to do her LB. Sephiroth LB. Gabranth is going to triple Sentence for Bolting Strike. We're going to triple Mascaphony for Bulwark. Louise is going to quad. We're going to do Disarming 3 times and Neutralizing. And Kresnik is going to quad Fyrega. Okay, so we're going to send our Chaos Wave Awakened Chainers first. Like a moment later, we're going to send everyone else. And we're going to hope for that damage cap. Now, Sephiroth and Sky are both double hand units, meaning they have lots of variance. So the damage could, swing pretty far one way or the other. But this team should have the potential to damage cap. Let's go ahead and give it a go. Send everyone else. Okay, so we're looking for 2.14. It really depends on just, lucky variance or not. Depending on your gear. If your gear is better, you have a better margin. 2.2, so we did perfect score with this team as well. I didn't have the HP modifier turned on, again, because I just couldn't. But we did 2.14, and we had 2 turns of burst in the first phase. So that hit point modifier would not have changed the clear whatsoever. That is a perfect score team if you have a EX16 team. So breakdown is here we go. So Sky did the majority of the damage here. Louise chained a little bit. Sephiroth, because he was busy singing, he couldn't really get multi-element imbues. He was only using 2 elements. He was using Wind from Chocobo and his own Dark. We had no way to imbue him with fire, and I didn't want to AoE imbue Ice with Chocobo because I don't want Ice on the rest of the party. I wanted to keep it to 1 element, just the Wind, because the Wind is so strong. Although Louise was doing fire herself as well. But anyway, that was a perfect score, and then Chocobo did 55 million, which is, it helped. I think we were at 2.2, so Chocobo was sort of important. Not really, as far as the damage. I mean, I guess 55 million. I mean, it adds up. It adds up. Okay, so let me show you the team and explain specifically what all the roles were. So this is the team we did. As far as Espers go, there's no critical Espers here. We didn't use Golem, so put the Espers wherever you want. Just spread them around for good killers. So Bulwark, in the base form is whatever, mana reduction, Philosopher's Stone, Future Emperor, Cool Beauty, etc. If you don't have Philosopher's Stone, another option is the upgrade package from AI Katie. Also, technically, Galbana Lilies can help, but you really want Bulwark to be able to do her Magnus on turn. Is that a guy, or I don't even know. Their Magnus on turn 1, so we can refill that mana. Shift form Technically speaking, I built them for damage. So they're using an instrument. They did their own instrument imperil. Double hand, basically 5,000 spirit. We're not using the shields. We don't split the imperils. Chain cap increased. A little bit of killers. But for the most part, they didn't do a ton of damage. But I mean, every little bit helps when you're chasing rank 1. So they had 150 demon, 125 human. Not the best, but it was something. But again, this is important. Mana reduction. So 3 stars, formal suit. If you don't have those items, get mana reduction however you can. It's really important on them so they can do their Magnus on turn 1, which is electronic and symbol. It cost 180 by default. We reduced it to only 36 mana on turn 1, so we were able to do that. Gabranth in the base form is full evasion and full bulk. We are passive provoking because of Durandal. So Durandal gives him passive provoke. So passive provoke, full evasion, and lots of bulk. Because we're using Kresnik, we didn't need anything like Mechanical Heart. So all the healing was handled by Kresnik. So there is his base form build. Shift form is built pure Holy Resist. So 200 Holy Resist because of one of the modifiers. You see how I said that it's 200% Holy Resist? One of the modifiers right here, this one was turned on. It reduces the party's resist by 50%. So you can see that actually in the shift form with that mod on, it's only 100. So with the mod on, you need 100% Holy Resist. That way we can immune the damage on turns 3 and 4 when he shifts and covers in the shift form. Other than that, I gave him high defense because he does chain in the shift form on the kill turn. A little bit of extra damage. I mean, I forgot the breakdown was. I think he did like 5 million or something. Basically irrelevant, but again, every spec helps. The important thing is full evasion in the base form. He does not need evade in the shift form because he's only in the shift form on the kill turn, and then on turns 3 and 4 where he's immune because of the holy element. Sephiroth, base form, lion emblem, a little bit of LB fill. Technically an auto-amplified dark, although because I realized we could do one with Chocobo, we don't actually need that. Zidane's STMR song and Rage Beast Roar. So make sure you use Rage Beast Roar to handle removing the Holy Imbue on turns 3 and 4 after you use Kresnik's Magnus. We don't want Holy Imbue on Louise or Sky. So using Rage Beast Roar, we're able to remove that Holy Imbue from our chainers in the beginning of the fight. Shift form, LB damage, humans, demons, etc. He shifts and kills a burst on the kill turn. Maxed to both. Maxed human, maxed demon, 280 LB damage, and 7,400 attack power. Kresnik in the base form is using Ygni's Ring. That's important. And a source of Phyrega. If you've got the Arc Arcana, that's a good source. If you don't have that, you can use Equip Whip and give him the Flame Whip replica. If you have neither of them, you can stick him on Phoenix or Ifrit and teach those Espers Phyrega. But give him a source of Phyrega from somewhere. Also, give him as much LB fill as you can fit. So, Dragon's Brush, Call of the Wild, 12/12 auto limit per turn in the base form. And we started in the base form to get the Dragon's Brush and Call of the Wild, and we shifted on turn 1 for the same thing. So we can double dip on Dragon's Brush and Call of the Wild. So we need to get his LB ready to go on turn 2 and again on turn 4, which is a little tricky, but with lots of LB fill and Louise with Ionic Blaster, it was very, very doable. Shift form, build not super important. Just again, Call of the Wild, Dragon's Brush, and some LB per turn. We also gave him some Holy Resistance in both forms. Remember, the mod is on, so when you're building your team, if you don't have the mod turned on, so don't forget that modifier halves all your resistances. Because he does self-holy damage every turn, so you kind of want to be 100% Holy Resist if you can. It's kind of like Esther with the thunder damage, but he doesn't absorb it. So, gear him some Holy Resist. It's really not that big a deal either way. It's only like 1,000 damage per turn, so it's really super minor anyway. But, you know, every little bit. Anyway, that was his build. A little bit of MP, Restore, Philosopher's Stone, etc. Louise, base form, just mana reduction, Artistic, Philosopher's Stone, Love Whereabouts, etc. Not really too super important. Shift form, damage. She's capped on everything, capped on killers. Some Esper stats because she just has leftover slots, whatever. Sky, base form. Technically, we gave her the Dark Bow, but we've got Kresnik on the team, and Kresnik autocast on blind every turn anyway, so not super important. Anti-Decay Amulet on the base form keeps her break immune because Kresnik is too busy for the first 5 turns to actually cast break immunity, so being immune from Anti-Decay is great. Mana reduction, the usual stuff. Shift form, damage, the big boy damage. Gun because of Louise, double hand, chain cap increase. The Magister's Helm, killers, LB damage, Venera's card because it gives human killer, maxed LB damage, max demon, maxed human, and she did the majority of the damage. Okay, so y'all have been asking for a no Behemy, no Ygni clear. Hope it was helpful. See you next time.